Swag out them balls.
And welcome to another episode of the Sartorial Geek Podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything in between. I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance. And let's jump right into the download. This is a game that I wouldn't say I've been excited, but I've always been curious about the Yakuza series of games from Sega, and with them being on Game Pass for a little while now, I still hadn't taken the plunge. Well, the latest game in the series, in this case the offshoot of the series, Like a Dragon, is out, and is Like a Dragon guiding the man who erased his name, is on the PlayStation 4, 5, the Xbox One S, X piece, and of course, as I spoke already, it dropped day one on Xbox Game Pass, which is how I played it. It is developed by Ryuga Gotoku Studio and published by Sega. So as a description, it is erase your past to protect your future. Once a legendary Yakuza, Kazuma Ikuri faked his own death and abandoned his name for the sake of protecting his family. Now he is thrust into conflict by a mysterious figure who is attempting to drive him out of hiding. Now, I wasn't quite sure getting into this game what to expect, as I am not familiar with the Yakuza series as a player, nor of the overall story. So at first I didn't realize this was, I guess, one of the main characters from the mainline games who's now shot off into his own series. So you see what happens with his story. So I wasn't familiar with his backstory or anything like that. And with that, it is just one of the little caveats in getting into this game that I went in totally blank. So going in, I really enjoyed it. I was very much looking forward to it because I know originally Yakuza, a lot of foundations were taken from Shinmen, which came out 20 years ago. And in some respects, seeing how that gameplay has been perfected, refined, and then even branched off with that style of gameplay in the Yakuza games is something I was looking forward to. Now, so far, I have only gotten through the introductory section of Like a Dragon Gaiden, but I absolutely loved it. I love the gameplay, I love the fighting. I'm very interested to see how this story progresses because it seems one of intrigue, mystery, especially not knowing any of the backstory from the previous games. Coming into it very fresh, I'm excited to learn more about our protagonist and the world he lives in. So that's my take on this week's download, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Now, our interview this week is with a stylish gentleman. This guy is an entrepreneur who has come up with various items that are all about men's style. And I'm talking about none other than Mr. or Captain Rob Kessler of GoTilers.com and $1 Million Collar. He offers solutions to help every man be just a bit more stylish and to also combat some of the common issues that we as men have, especially when it comes to wearing certain items of clothing, including button-down shirts. And we'll talk more about that, his journey, as well as the reception that Go Tilers and $1 Million Collar have received over the past few years. So let's jump right into our interview with Captain Rob Kessler. Mr. Rob Kessler from Go Tilers, and he has a great variety of male style products, which I've actually purchased now that I've discovered them. And one of the things that I really saw, and as many of you stylish guys know, it's these collars are a pain at times. There are a lot of times where we go with magnetic collar stays, but sometimes you just want your collar just to be nice and tight when you don't have a tie on. And this is where Go Tilers comes into play. And I was really fascinated by the dress shirt or the collared shirt that they have, the $1 Million Collar, where if you go without a tie, you look just as crisp and as clean as you would. So Rob, tell us about that. Tell us about where all of this came from, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea came from my wedding. If you looked over my shoulder here, before I could even say I do, we got married on the beach in Jamaica, toes in the sand, super chill. I hate wearing ties. And my shirt was just collapsed. It looked terrible. And what turns out, I came home from the wedding, did a bunch of research. there is so much weight in the collar itself. There's just so much material up there that it collapses the placket of the shirt. And the placket is that part just below with the buttons and the holes. And so I took the idea of a collar stay, I made it 9 inches long, and I shoved it down the front of the shirt. And so my product, $1 Million Collar, is actually what I would call a placket stay. So it goes down the front and gives some weight and some structure to that front of the shirt so that the collar doesn't collapse the placket. So you can wear a dress shirt without a tie all day long. It'll look great. You know when you starch a shirt, a couple hours later, it's sagging and you're adjusting your collar all day long, trying to get that placket to look right. $1 Million Collar does that all day long. And so we started with that product, which can be added to any dress shirt you already own. Simply take it to a tailor or a dry cleaner that does alterations. It's a very, very simple 1-inch hem that they open, slide it in, it goes in, it lasts the life of the shirt. Or we have our own shirts now called Go Tieless, like you mentioned, $1 Million Collar built in. We took that same shirt that I wore at my wedding, which is the #1 selling shirt in America. We made the fabric better, which is this buttery, soft, bamboo stretch, wrinkle resistant fabric. It's amazing. We've got a convertible cuff. You said you got all these cufflinks at home.
Right.
These shirts actually have a buttonhole in between the buttons.
Okay.
So you could wear cufflinks or not. They're from extra small to 3XL in white, black, and light blue, in slim and standard. I mean, if you can't find a shirt that fits you, you got a different body style, and we'll do our best to get a shirt that does fit you. But we've got great colors, great sizes, and that's pretty much the long and short of it.
Okay. One of the things I noticed as well, I think one of the hardest things we deal with, especially men's clothing, can be a bit weird sometimes. I think women have a lot of times better options from low end to high end. But with men's clothing, is a lot of times, if you really want to look good, you really got to spend. I really admire the reasonable price point for the Ultimate dress shirt at only $69.99. I thought that was just, especially for what you're getting, even the materials you just listed, that's a really good price point for a very unique item compared to, say, going to an Express and H&M or someplace like that. I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I want to sell as many dress shirts as possible, and I want to get these on as many people as possible. I mean, if I could sell them for $30, I would. We've got to make a profit at some point. I mean, our first round of shirts we made in Los Angeles, they cost us $45 a piece just to make them, and the quality wasn't even that great. So we're getting the manufacturing figured out. These are, like, I would say, as good of any shirt that's out there. And at $70, and actually it's, if you buy two, they're $110, so they're $55 a piece, which is even better. But you see all these new dress shirt companies come out, and they're $100, $125, $150 shirts, and that's just such a limited number of people that can afford that kind of thing. The great thing is I know when you get this shirt for $70 or two for $110, that they're going to be your go-to favorite shirts, and you'll be back for more. So we're just doing everything we can to get people to try it out, because we know it's such a game changer. There's nothing else like it on the market. Yeah,
I'm really impressed with the fact that it's bamboo, and just from having that sort of dress shirts with t-shirts that are bamboo, a lot of those shirts have like 2 or 3, and I've had most of them for at least 20 years, and these are t-shirts we're talking about, and they hold up so well through multiple wears and washes, and obviously probably doing a little bit better care than just throwing this in a washing machine most of the time. But it's such a high quality material as well, and I can't harp enough on like the quality versus the cost and your return per wear that an individual will get this as well. Let me ask you though, we talked about the accessories. Where did, especially like the flex cuff, where did the idea for that come from?
So that was a kid that I met. He's in Chicago. He came up with the idea. We actually bought that company a few months ago. I like to roll my cuffs. I don't really like, and there were so many shirts for so many years that had these really cool contrasts, and even our first rounds of shirts had contrast. And it's like, well, you roll it once and it's still too long, but if you roll it twice, then you miss the contrast. So he came up with this idea. It's basically a button and a hole and a piece of elastic, and you connect it to the sleeve of your shirt, and then it helps keep that sleeve right there with one fold right below your elbow. So we just loved it. We thought it was a great product. I helped him with manufacturing options. He really couldn't get the price point to where he needed it. He was at like $16, $17 a pair, which is crazy, I think, for an accessory. So we looked at our manufacturing people, got it dialed in, and now you can buy them for $9.99 a set. So we've got a bunch of really cool colors. We're starting to do colors that are he was trying to match the shirt, so it was kind of subtle.
Right.
I'm thinking, man, match it to your belt and your shoes, and just have this extra accessory that's just a little touch. And all of a sudden you see it, and people are like, well, how's your shirt staying like that? And you see that little elastic band that kind of matches everything else. So you've got khaki, brown, black, navy, white, light gray, light blue. So really great selection of colors, and we'll do more as more and more people pick them up. But at $9.99, it's a really cool accessory. You're gonna love it.
That is really good. Are there any new products that on the horizon from you guys?
Well, the shirts just came out, so we only had them for 90 days, and we had to reorder because we were running out of sizes. People are just like loving them. So we've got more inventory of the shirts coming in. We're really focused on that. We've spent the last 6 years selling $1 million collar direct to consumer, and I will be the first to admit that process sucks, because I mail you, 5 or 10 sets of $1 million collar. You now have to take that package and go find somebody to sew these into your shirt if you don't know how to sew. So that extra step has made it difficult, but we still managed to sell 500,000 units to people in 130 countries. And so the people that get it, love it. I mean, most of our customers have 13 or 14 sets. That's our average. So, it's one of those products that once you get it in once, you see that it's worth it. So we focused on that for a while. That's running really well. Now it's time to move some shirts. So my goal is, I always do small goals. So my goal is 1,000 shirts. And so first let's sell the first 1,000. Then I want to do 1,000 in a month, and 1,000 in a week, and 1,000 in a day. I mean, 1,000 shirts a day at $70. You do the math. We got a pretty good company at that point.
It's interesting. I just realized I think I came across the individual $1 million collar a couple of years ago now that I think about it as I started all of this. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until just now. I was like, oh, that's right. I do remember. So I'll say this. I'm really impressed, and I congratulate you on the success and the growth over the past few years. I mean, this is really awesome and amazing.
Yeah, you know what? It's when you're passionate about what you're doing, it's easier to keep going. I mean, if you're just chasing the dollar, it's easy to say, well, that's not working and I'm not making any money, I'll go find something else. But I've known for a long time. I mean, I never thought I was going to change the dress shirt industry. Now I am dead set on changing the dress shirt industry. And so the reason we're making shirts is because we've tried licensing this, and these big brands are like, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if my customer cares. I'm like, we got 500,000 units and a proven product. I know that they care.
Right.
They still won't make that switch. So I said, fine, I'll make a dress shirt. I'll put it into a manufacturer that's going to have to pay attention to me at some point. And so we're building a brand around the technology that I believe and have committed my whole life to. So, it's going really well. We're really excited, and just nothing but good things to come, hopefully.
Awesome. I really enjoyed that. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Because we pretty much ran through all the products here. I'm sorry, 6 years. So let me ask you a question. What were some of the major bumps that you experienced as you grew your company?
Well, I mean, the biggest one is the word no, which I've heard 10,000 times. But, I always look at products. I've grown 4 companies from nothing to $1 million in revenue. It started from absolutely zero, totally bootstrapped. Go Tyless would be my 5th. And I always look at it from the customer's perspective. How do I make it easier? How to make it a good buying experience? So came out with $1 million collar. It was originally going to be a shirt. We didn't get funded on our Kickstarter. So then we went to this aftermarket idea, because everybody on Kickstarter who was willing to give us money, and we really listened to their feedback, said, why compete with all the other brands, and why can't I upgrade the shirts I already own? So we made this aftermarket version. A lot of people, you get these dumb comments, oh, too bad, why has it got to be sewn in? I'm not cutting my shirt open. It's like, both sides of the placket are visible. So what are you going to do? Put a clear one on? Remember girls in the 90s had those clear bra straps? They weren't clear. You knew exactly what was happening. It's just going to look terrible. It really is the easiest, simplest, least expensive way. I mean, you said before about the average cost per wear. Look, if you wear the shirt 30 or 40 times on a $2 product that costs $10 to install, it costs 30 cents every time you wear it. If you average it out over the life of the shirt, because if it's done right and it's put in, it lasts forever. So, the product has been a challenge. I have never been able to say, here's how you sell a product that needs to be bought somewhere and taken somewhere else to use. I mean, there's just nothing like it. So we've kind of paved our own path, but We did the aftermarket. I buy wholesale shirts and then install $1 Million Collar and sell Tommy Hilfiger and, all these brands, Calvin Klein, all these brands that you already know. I have those shirts in stock that you can buy if you already know your size and say, well, I don't want to do that. I'll buy a shirt that's already done and try it that way. So we have that. We have a VIP mail-in service. So if you want to send me 5 to 15 shirts, we'll take your shirts in, upgrade them, and then mail them back to you. And we have that. So there's no way for somebody to say no. I mean, that's my old goal is always to say, if you won't do it this way, how about this way? If you won't do it that way, how about this way? And try to get a guy to say yes.
Choice. I like that. I really like that. Well, Rob, I want to thank you for your time. I'm impressed. I'm amazed, and I'm definitely going to buy some more in the near future. I like that VIP service. I'm like, I definitely have some shirts I can utilize that service for. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, look, and if you like wearing a tie, this shirt is great for that too. You always kind of get that gap between the first and second button. With this extra rigidity in here, that gap goes away. And then, if you finish the day of work and you want to go out and have a drink and take the tie off and, chill out, boom, you got a great looking shirt and it'll last all night long.
Right, exactly. Now, Rob, tell everyone where they can find your products.
Best place is gotieless.com or milliondollarcollar.com, but Go Tieless is where the focus is. That's where the shirts are. We've got, flex cuff and cuff adapters there and $1 Million Collar, so you can buy everything right at gotieless.com.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you for your time, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that was my interview with Captain Rob Kessler of Go Tieless and $1 Million Collar. And I actually, after the fact, I think I alluded to in that interview, ended up purchasing their cuff extender. So essentially it changes your regular button-down collar shirt with buttons on the sleeve into a shirt that can now mimic the properties of a French cuff shirt and wear your cufflinks. And for the low price, I believe was $14.99, it was a well worth it investment in my own personal style. So I was really happy to talk to him and to learn more about Go Tieless and $1 Million Collar. Next up, we have the fragrance of the week. And this time we went into the bag of samples with a fragrance that I haven't talked about in a while, but I think it's perfect for the fall. Something about the fall that for me really makes me yearn for sort of earthy fragrances. And this week we are talking about Nightshade from Ehrlich Lang, New York. This is going to be an EDP concentration. You can find 100 ml bottles online ranging anywhere from $80 to $142 depending on where you look. So not unreasonable as far as the price for what you get. And this is a fragrance that offers top notes of bergamot and green accords, mid notes of jasmine and geranium and cedarwood, and then base notes of leather, musk, amber, tonka bean, and patchouli. The bergamot and green accords are very invigorating. It's opening notes in my opinion, but it's the geranium in the mid note that really steals the show for me. At the time of my first sniffing of this, geranium was a very new note for me. So it stood out like a sore thumb because it was just something so different with that geranium note. Now, after a few years of experiencing different notes, it still strikes me as to how much this note sticks out considering the rest of the note composition of this fragrance. It exquisitely melds with the base notes, especially the leather. So it was even weird now to have that geranium really meld nicely with the leather and the base. Those are two notes that you wouldn't necessarily think go exceedingly well together, but they do. The patchouli and the tonka are somewhat muted as far compared to the leather and the musk. So like they're there, but they're just dominated by the leather and musk in my opinion, at least to my nose. And the amber dance with the remnants of the geranium and the jasmine, so you get a nice little amber jasmine geranium mix as well as the fragrance dissipates on your skin. For me, it's a unique fragrance that you'll definitely enjoy unpacking all of the layers. And for the fall, it is definitely a great fragrance to wear in this not so cold but not so warm sort of weather we're having on the East Coast. At least my opinion, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think. Have you tried out Nightscape by Ehrlich Lang before? hit me up, let me know. And of course, you can always support, and in many different ways to support Webster Style, Satori and Geek. You can check me out. First of all, check out Basil and Sage. Basil and Sage subscription boxes. I've absolutely loved all the products I've been receiving from them in their subscription boxes. I've pretty much used everything, and for the price of $50, everything in the box exceeds $50 if you added up everything retail-wise. It is a wonderful deal, and especially it's a great way to support Black-owned businesses. Basil and Sage is Black-owned. All the products in the boxes from Black-owned businesses. And if you use the code Sartorial and Geek 10, you get 10% off either your first box or your overall subscription. I'm not sure how that works, but check it out and see. Let me know. You can also become a producer over at Patreon for the $1, $3, and $5 tiers. You'll get up-to-date early podcasts as well as behind-the-scenes footage from various conventions. You'll get some things that are uncensored for YouTube as well, that you can't post on YouTube, considering some of the conventions I've gone to in the past year or so, and you know what I mean. For those, just those tiers being an associate producer, or executive producer at the $1, $3, and $5 tiers. Also, Pete and Pedro, I've talked about their fragrances forever. They are a great deal if you're looking for a not just serviceable, a really good quality fragrance for a very reasonable price. $50 for 50 mLs of their fragrances. And I've said before, and I said again, Villain is my favorite of the bunch. But you can get 10% off your first purchase by using the link, the referral link in the show code, or show notes, not show code, but the code in the show notes. Get 10% off. Also, try W Energy Drink. Get 10% off your first purchase with the code WebsterMan or the link below. And I don't get kickback from this, but I talked about El Viejo Coffee and how much I love it, and I love supporting these businesses. You can get 10% off your purchase at checkout with the code Webster Style. That's it. That's what it is. That's how you can support. That's how you get a discount on some of my favorite products, and hopefully it'll become some of yours. But you can find me all over the web. You can find me over at Nerds of the World twice a week at least, because we also do reacts and how to nots occasionally. So you may see me all throughout the week over there as well. But you can definitely find me every week with my man Brian Sapp talking about the latest and greatest in video games with the NRW Checkpoint. And then you can find me with the Legend QRP, with the voiceover king Sean Mongold, talking wrestling pretty much every week. We have some breaks every now and again because there's a lot of wrestling, and sometimes we need a break. But you can still see us pretty much every week over at Kayfabe Baby, the NRW Ring Generals podcast. Find me on social media, Twitter at Webster Style, Instagram Webster Style Satori and Geek, and then TikTok _Webster Style. And of course, anything and everything that is Webster Style can be found at websterstyle.com. And again, feel free, questions, comments, criticisms, want to be a part of the show, drop me a line, info at websterstylemagazine.com. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your listening ear. And remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.
Are you the enemy if you're not defending the presence of Millie in the vicinity without a bow tie? Okay, I might have went over the edge. Besides, I really let them close on them legs and thighs. Need to get strong, we can lift them to the sky. The party starts at 12. We got a little time to get it on. And on fact, I'm the type who puts it on. And after that, take a picture with your phone of the outfit. I'm choosing what we own. That was Tree Green Tuesday. Had to be Bow Tie Thursday. Had to be. White Wednesday? I know last time. Well, I wore polka dot. You didn't wear. Miss Millie on them heels killing them, but I'm sure it's a Thursday. Bow Tie Thursday. Pasta cream in your heels looking sharp, babe. Acting like you don't know the rules up in the workplace. Must I remind you it was till on your birthday? Don't get me wrong, I think we killed in the birthdays. And you picked the hella fit for the church day. Let's say you picked the risk game poet. Now you got the floor filled with bras that you purchase. Pick a color scheme that can match the berry corset. Get the berry cream. Get the berry cream. Get the berry cream. We can make a little scene. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Let's see what it seems. If it is what it seems. Do it again. Chicks be looking thick leggings, you know what I mean? I don't know. Take a hint though, don't try to get me at a moment. Mint though, smoking hot, rocking this pin so thin. Tie hairline, looking like a stencil pin. No lie, I'm sharper than a utensil. Instrumental, plain dang, homie. I was hoping we could walk out with that bang bang, honey. See them plain James, honey. Them lame frames, funny. We tell it fit it crazy like that thing came on me. Hey, mommy, look a lady, main thing. Want me on the scene, fit popping like a main vein, running blood color lips, smashing with the hand clutch, money holding back. Kinda funny, can you tell me what's the price tag of the Range Rover? Hang on me when we walking, looking Gucci like that thing sprayed on me. Walking with a limp like an ankle sprained on me. Yeah, I rock the cardigan, she don't really want me because one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Hey, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Aim off and on the middle Malone. Aim off and on the middle Malone. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Oh, you wanted to? Oh, I completely read that wrong.